nice when it's spelled out for you. Okay. So with those ideas in mind, let's move into some more ideas. Let's start talking about component manipulation. Now, in previous activities that we did in class, what we did was we took the basic shapes of the objects that we were trying to create, and we used scale tool, we used the move tool, we used the rotate tool, and these things were all used to manipulate the overall shape of the object. And we were dealing with these objects in object mode. But we also know that geometry has a component mode as well. Who remembers how do we get to component mode? How do we get to component mode? Anybody? Right mouse button over the geometry, and that's the key. It's got to be over the geometry, and then you get to the component mode, which allows you to get to the components to manipulate. Who can name for me one of the components of a polygon object? Vertex or vertice, absolutely. How about the next one up in size? What's up from there? The edges, absolutely. Between 2 points in space, we have a straight line that connects them when we're talking about polygons, and that's the edge. What's the third one? Faces, absolutely. 3 or more edges, we end up with what we call a face. Maya shades it in, and that's the surface of the object, which gives us the illusion of 3D space depth of these objects that we're building. All right, so those are the components we're looking for. And what we find out is that we can actually move the components, and that will help us change the shape of the object. And I'll let you in on a joke. Modelers are commonly referred to as vert pushers, because what we do is push and pull vertices all day long to make changes in shape. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our tools in the toolbox to change the shape of objects. So you know we have a super fun activity to do. Yay! And this will help us understand this process of manipulating components in order to achieve changes in shape. So we're going to do an activity. So what's the first thing I need to do? Set my project to the activity file folder. All right, you guys are getting it. Good. So what we're going to do is get Maya up here. Hi, Maya. And just going to resize a little there. I'm going to set my project to my activity file folder, set aroo, and then we go to file open scene. And the one I want now is, what did I change the name to? This is going to be my mirroring shape change. That's the one. Shape change activity. Open. Boop. All right. Now in the shape change activity, of course, we've got the perspective view, which we don't really use our image planes in, but I like you to see image planes and how they relate within space. But you and I both know that really the orthographic views is where we make the most adjustment to that kind of thing.
Okay, excuse me.
Yes.
My computer is acting a little slow.
Okay. No worries.
Wait, can you help me?
You might need to restart it, but I will be around in just a minute. All right, so here we are. We're looking at this assignment. And if you press, oh, how do I get to wireframe? 4 is wireframe. So if you press 4, you can see the green shapes in the background. That's our goal. That's our objective. So we want to hit those shapes, but these are the pieces of geometry we have to work with in order to do that. So if we come to our first shape, moving left to right, we can start making some changes. Now, it's true you can do 4 for wireframe, 5 for shaded, but I like to see through my geometry to the image behind. What do I do for that? X-ray. Where does that? It's under shading. So I go to my shading menu set and I choose X-ray, and that allows me to see the geometry as well as the image plane behind. So if I look at my first shape, the shape of my geometry matches in my front view. So now let me go over to my side view. And again, each window has its own menu set, so I have to go to the shading and choose X-ray in this one as well. So I go over here to my shape, and again, the very first one, it seems to match the shape. So if it matches here and it matches here, then I must have the right shape out here. So let's move on to the second one. Second piece of geometry. Looking at my geometry, it seems to match pretty well. So front view is good. Let's go to the side view. I come over here to my side view. Oh, wait a minute. It kind of goes in here. I've got a change in shape. Now, luckily, there's an edge loop in here. And anytime you're looking at a change in shape in your geometry, that's going to require an edge loop, whether it's a holding shape or whether it's creating the change in the shape. Changes in shape should indicate to you edge loop. So I know I've got to do something to change the shape of this object. So I go to component mode by holding down the right mouse button. And in this instance, I'm going to choose vertex or vertice. Now, if I select the vertice doing a point selection, and what I did was I just came right up to it, go to vertice mode, and I just select the vertice with the left mouse button. And then I switch to my move tool, because then you have to move the component you've selected. And you think, oh shoot, my vertices are like doubling themselves. What happened there? I thought I moved it. I must have duplicated it or something. But let me show you what's going on here is I've only selected the vertice in the front because I did a point selection. So I only got one vertice. I didn't move the one in the back. So I'm not duplicating anything. I'm just now seeing the one in the back. So what you need to do is what we call a marquee selection. And again, that's when you hold down the left mouse button and you create a selection box. And this will select everything in the box. So when I do that, I am selecting both the front and the back vertice. And when I have both of them selected and I move them, that gets, whoop, grabbed the wrong two. When I grab both of them and move them, it changes the shape of the object. So again, I want to make a marquee selection. And again, that's hold down the left mouse button and drag. And you can see it really well. I gave you a black background for the image plane so you can see the selection box very easily. Grab both vertices and move them. So now when I look at my geometry, looks good in this view, looks good in this view, then it must be done. This is the shape I was going for. So here I am in 3D, and this is the correct shape. All right, now that in mind, now we start getting into some nuttier shapes. So what I want you to do is try to get these three pieces of geometry to match the image behind. So just do your best, see what you can figure out. Brian and I are going to walk around and see how you're doing and give you some feedback and some pointers. And hopefully you will have some success with this. All righty. You want to do that side? I'll do this side. All right, and make sure you're selecting the geometry, not the image plane, because you don't want to move that. You want to move the geometry. See, right now you have the image plane selected. Oh, good job. Killing it, killing it. Good, good. Fabulous. It's called shape change. Shape change, yep. Very good. Yep, and then switch to the move tool. Very good. Very good. You got it? Create a selection box. Left mouse button held down. Yep, get back to your components. Right mouse button over the geometry. Choose vertex. And then a selection area. Left mouse button and drag. Okay, well you have to get used to it. That's the touch thing. There you go. Do you see what she's doing? There you go. That's correct. Yep, like I said, there's a touch and a feel to it, and that's why we do these things in class, because this is your chance to mess with it a little bit with us right here so we can give you some advice. All right, and then don't forget to switch to your move tool, because if you want to move something after you select it. Very good. Very good. Good. Nice. Excellent. Good, good, good. Good. This is called the shape change. Yep. No, you want to make sure you're in the activity file folder. And you want the shape change. All right. Good, good, good. Whoops, where'd your image planes go? Make sure you set your project. I think that's file, set project. All right, and then choose your activity file folder. You got to set your project first. Then it will be in there. There you go, good, good.
I'm trying to change shape.
Right. Now you do need a mouse or a tablet, right? Because it's much harder to operate this using the trackpad. But if you put both fingers on there, on the trackpad, choose vertex. There you go. Now you can grab those vertices. Okay, now switch to your move tool.
Switch to this move tool?
Yes, right, but select your vertices first. Choose vertex. Now grab the vertices.
This?
There's little pinkish purple dots. Grab them. Now switch to your move tool. Now move them. You see, that starts changing the shape. So what you want to do is grab those things and move them. How are you guys doing? Did Brian come by to see you guys? He did? Okay, good. What's that? Nice. No, just press 3. Press 1 on your keyboard. Yeah, 1 on your keyboard. No, we're good. We're still polygons. All right, good. It looks like you guys seem to be doing pretty well with this idea. Again, you go to component mode. You then go to your move tool or your scale tool or whatever tool you're going to use to manipulate, and then you move those components around. And you can see that's what changes the shape of the object. And you're also starting to see, okay, this is definitely a touch thing. I got to get used to this because I think I'm grabbing this and I'm grabbing that, and I think I'm moving it a little and I'm moving it a lot. Again, this is that feel you have to develop to learn how to model. The way I like to describe it is, let's pretend this is a pencil, right? This class is like teaching you how to use a pencil, and it works like this. This is a pencil. This end creates lines. If I give you the point of the pencil and I draw a line, you get a very fine line. If you want, you can lay the pencil at an angle a little bit and draw, and the line will be a little bit wider. It will give you a thicker line. If you make a mistake and you don't like the line you drew, the other end is an eraser, and that takes away the line you drew. And you can draw it again if you want. This is a pencil. That's how pencils work. Now, I have taught you how a pencil works. Does this mean you can draw? No, I've shown you how a pencil works. You have to learn how to draw. Does that make sense? So what I'm teaching you in this class is the pencil. The drawing part, you have to learn by doing it. Does that make sense? I can't teach you that part. You literally have to experience that for yourself to find that ability. Does that make sense? I can give you all the advice in the world. I can give you suggestions. I can guide you. I can give you feedback. But until you put that pencil in your hand and you actually fight and learn to draw and struggle, you're not going to be able to draw. Make sense? Okay. So this is why we do these exercises, and that's why we work on these activities. We need the practice because that's what makes us good. All right, so let's take a look. Now, most of you did pretty well with this. Again, something I want you to note is the fact that whenever we see a change in shape, that's going to indicate the necessity of an edge loop, and we're going to talk about how to put those in where we need them. But at this point, the components we need are in there. Now, something that I saw some of you guys doing is you went to vertex mode, which was great, and you were grabbing vertices and moving them and trying to make the geometry kind of match the picture, which is what we were trying to do, get these things in place.